Hey guys, welcome to It's Just Complicated. On today's episode, we're going to discuss how it's just complicated to be an effective parent. As parents, we strive to nurture, protect, and guide our children through each stage of their lives. However, it's not always as smooth and easy of a path. As they grow and develop, there are times when our kids display undesirable behaviors, and we don't always know how to help them when they struggle.
Right. And positive parenting focuses on teaching children what type of behavior is acceptable. There are techniques that help us get the desired behavior while also allowing our children to grow into happy and healthy human beings. According to recent research, parenting styles influence whether or not adolescents have poor self-esteem. Those who do have poor self-esteem are prone to experience many more challenges. The study, which included over 500 students, found that there is a significant association between parenting styles and adolescent self-esteem. Today, we'll break down the different styles of parenting in hopes to help clarify and bring awareness on the impact we as parents have on our children. So let's get into it.
So in order to bring awareness, we do have to get educated. So there are 4 main parenting styles: permissive, authoritative, neglectful, and authoritarian. Effective parenting falls under authoritative parenting styles, which is also known as gentle parenting and positive parenting. So what we're going to do now is we are going to get a little understanding of what each one represents, and then we will get into effective parenting. So the first one is permissive parenting. Permissive parenting is essentially exactly what permission means, which is permissive parents might make comments such as, "I never say no to my child," or "my child chooses what they want to do." They truly allow the child to have no boundaries and do whatever it is that they want without any boundaries or any consequences. Then there is authoritative, which relates to effective parenting and gentle parenting. So this parent shows reasonable demands and high responsiveness. So while authoritative parents might have high expectations for their children, they also give their child the resources and support that they need to succeed. These parents who exhibit this style listen to their kids and provide love and warmth in addition to limits and fair discipline. This approach to parenting avoids punishment and threats and instead relies on strategies such as positive reinforcement. Then there's neglectful parenting style. So this parenting style is where parents don't respond to their child's needs or desires beyond the basics of food, clothing, and shelter. This is an uninvolved parenting. It puts little effort into parenting and focuses more on other areas of life for themselves specifically. And last but not least, the authoritarian, which we are very much aware of. This parenting style is extremely strict. It's an extremely strict parenting style. It places high expectations on the child, and it gives them little responsiveness. So as an authoritarian parent, you focus more on obedience, discipline, and control rather than nurturing your child. This looks like yelling and corporal punishment, which is very common in this parenting style. So let's talk about it.
Yeah. I think we can all agree that, all 4 of us have some kind of, in each of these,
Are you speaking for me?
Not neglectful, though. We were really loved.
I'm sorry. Speak for yourself. Thank you very much.
Hold on.
What are you?
Wait a minute.
Don't let any of these women fool you. They were all extremely loved and spoiled their whole lives, okay?
All right, so let's start with the questioning, and then we'll go. There's about 4 questions that I want to ask, and as I'm asking you guys, I want our listeners to also reflect on some of these questions, because at the end of the day, we are humans, and there are struggles with parenting, and this is our time to kind of reflect and give out some experiences, as well as you guys reflecting on your own parenting styles, or even if you don't have kids, what kind of parent do you want to be? Because I think that's always important to remember. At the end of the day, what is your goal as a parent? So let's start with, which parenting styles do you relate to, or parent style do you relate to?
Okay, I can go first because I have
Fernanda.
Yes. So kind of shifted when Emily's 6. So when she was 1 to 3, I think I was very authoritarian where I was very like strict, and I'm like, you must listen. And only because now I look back, it was a lot of fear of like, if you don't do it this way, then you're going to be this kind of child, which is all in my freaking head. I used to yell a lot. I still yell now. I'm trying to work on that.
Practice.
I used to, corporal punishment. I used to like pinch her sometimes, and like, sometimes I'd hit her, which I was surprised because I was never hit as a child. So I don't know why I thought that was acceptable from her. Yeah, so I've never been neglectful. That's something that like I've always been super, maybe too much present in Emily's life. And I'm trying now to be authoritative, which is the gentle, authoritative, which is a gentle and, positive parent, which, permissive. No, I'm not permissive. I'm actually a really big bitch. So I should probably
I don't think any of us is permissive at this point. That I can say.
What are you, Jackie?
Well,
or Michelle? Go ahead.
I don't
Go
know.
ahead, Jackie.
No, I can go for last for best. Dunny or Michelle. You
Best. What? If that's the case, I could go last. I guess I'll quick touch base my parenting style. I feel like it depends on my mental health. I aim for
yes.
I think I aim for authoritative, but life and myself, understanding my sense of self. So definitely I aim for authoritative. I think also because I'm in the world of education, I do understand the importance it is, the way that you speak to your child and, the resources that you give them for later in life. But I do find myself being authoritarian, where I'm yelling and, some kind of handsy punishment. But then I also, depending on my mental health, like I do find myself being permissive sometimes, where I don't give my children boundaries or consequence. And I'm just like, oh, I could have done that better. So I do find myself definitely not neglectful. I do find myself in the realm of all three. I do push myself more to be authoritative. I when I notice that I'm being permissive or authoritarian, I do try to push myself to come back and kind of fix the problem, because as the adult in the room, you know what I mean? Like I have more experience. So that should be my role, to make sure that everybody understands what's going on in whatever situation is happening. But I do push for authoritative because I do understand the importance of it. Dunny?
Hello, everybody. Yes, I am here, if you were wondering.
Nobody was. I'm just kidding.
I can relate a lot to Michelle. I'm definitely not neglectful. But I do go back and forth from authoritative to authoritarian, right?
Authoritarian.
These are some hard words, guys. Sorry.
And because before I had Ella, I was definitely I thought in my head that I was gonna be the parent that like, no, you can't have it your way. It's my way. Authoritarian.
Is that right? Is that right?
Strict.
I also had this mindset. I always had this mindset that if I didn't instill the rules and early on, like telling her this is how it has to be, this is what you have to do, that she would be a child out of control. And then throughout my pregnancy, I was watching a lot of parenting videos, and I came across a couple of gentle parenting sites and started reading into it. I used to think that gentle parenting was the parent that let their kid do whatever they want. And then once I started doing some research into it and started realizing that it's not really that. Gentle parenting is basically allowing your child to have emotions, to express themselves, to communicate. So there was this interesting video that changed my entire view as a parent, which was basically the little kid and his mom. And it was the view of how the child feels when a parent yells at them. And it was basically the little kid saying, like, the kid got into the mom's makeup and the mom was yelling at him saying, why did you do that? Why did you ruin my makeup? And the little kid was like, in his mind was like, why is she yelling at me? I just wanted to make mommy happy because I know that mommy's happy when she does her makeup, and like I don't understand. Like I was just doing something that she loves doing, and I wanted to do it too. Why is my mom yelling at me? And that really hit me because I was like, so when I yell at my child, is that what she's thinking? Like that I'm yelling at her for something that she thought was something good. So it's hard. It's like there are moments that I yell at Ella, and not so much Mel because she's so little still. But I try to let her express herself. I try to let her communicate with me. Like if she's yelling because she doesn't want to eat, then let's figure it out. Why? What do you want to eat? Is it because you don't want to eat what I'm offering you? Do you want something else? So I go back and forth too. And like Michelle said, the mental health, the patience. Sometimes you're home from a hard day at work and you're tired and you just don't have the patience to deal with the yelling and the nagging and the no's. Don't want this. I don't want that. And it's like, what do you want? But working through it.
Yeah, I think it's normal for them to get the short end of the stick when we had a long day and you get home and you have to cook dinner and you have to organize everything and like make sure they're good. And it is what it is. We're not perfect. It's a bad day, not a bad life.
Yes. I think it's also just important to be self-aware, right?
Yeah.
If you're self-aware, then you can fix the problem.
100%. Again, there's no secret to parenting. We all figure out as we go.
So which parenting style do you relate to, Jackie, and why is that your choice?
Oh, I'm neglectful, 100%. I'm just kidding.
Crickets.
Yeah, definitely not neglectful. I'm way too loving, way too caring. Authoritative. Yeah, reasonably. That's me, I think. I think these words are really hard for me, so I'm just going to,
Gentle, authoritative, you can say, and then strict, authority.
I'm not strict. I don't think I'm strict at all. You think I am?
Absolutely.
Can we?
Okay, let's focus on another word here. Control rather than nurture. Maybe, I don't know. Actually, Jackie, I can't say nothing. I don't really see too much interaction between you and Lucas, so I can't speak.
I mean, he doesn't. I don't know. Like, you guys, this gets me thinking now because, like, I'm definitely not neglectful. I care too much. I obviously, like, love the shit out of my child, but I don't think I'm strict with him. I think I yell a lot. And I've been working on the not hitting. I actually used to pinch him a lot more. He doesn't like, I think I yell a lot, but not the hitting anymore so much.
When things don't go your way, how do you react to that? Like if, you want him to drink water and he wants to drink juice.
I've been really like, I don't give a shit. Like I've been watching, I used to be really annoying about that before, but as of lately, I've been doing my research. I think I literally just told you guys, I watched someone's story and she was like, if kids don't want to eat, they don't want to eat. Like they're not going to starve.
I've been telling her that since this kid was
I
born.
know,
so let's listen to other people. Why
I
don't
know.
we?
Michelle knows it all. No, I'm definitely, I think more of I guess it's a mix of authority and what's the other one?
Authoritative.
Authoritative. Here you go. Reasonable demands. I feel like I try to I had a thing with Lucas because he was born in COVID. I think that's why you guys have this thing with me is that like I was freaked out about everything. And like if he went outside and he touched things, he had to wash his hands. And I was like, really, really, really psycho about it. And now that it's getting a little better, obviously there's still things out there, but I know he's 2. His immune system is like, he's bigger. It's better. I've been more laid back when it comes to that. I do get why you guys think I would be like
That's more of a
strict.
health freak, though.
Right. That's what
not-
I'm saying. I wasn't like, you guys feel free to tell me. Like, I really don't know. I'm a little.
I think Jackie has moved from the authoritative parent into the authority.
No, she's moved from the authoritarian into authoritative.
Jesus. Authoritarian to authoritative.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
there
Michelle.
you go.
And
That's-
just clarifying.
And the reason why I say that is because when he was younger and he wouldn't stay still to change a diaper, for example.
Oh, yeah. That pissed me off.
Right. She would slap him so he can stay still. And she used to get so mad at me because I used to say, Jackie, he doesn't know why he's getting hit.
Right.
He's a kid. He's a year old, a year and a half. Like, you shouldn't be doing that to him because causing pain just so he can stay still isn't teaching him anything. He's just scared of you now. So,
Although he was never scared, that kid is a clown. Like,
Right. But I think now she has realized that he's now communicating. He's telling her, yes, no, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. And she's allowing him to express himself, which before, because, and I think this is where parents don't realize, just because they don't talk doesn't mean they're not communicating with you.
Effective.
Right. And that's where I think you failed to realize. And now you're realizing because he's communicating, you're like, oh, okay, so he can speak for himself now.
I just also think that's my first kid, obviously. Nobody knows how to do this. I have a reaction of where I'm everything, like I get overwhelmed and I'm like, not dealing with it. The slapping, the smacking, like it was wrong. Absolutely. And I think that a kid that doesn't understand why they're getting hit, he's like, to him, it's a game, right? I'm changing diapers and I'm like moving around and it's fun. It was fun to him. And to me, I was like, I've had a long day. I just want to change your diaper so we could go on about our routine. So that's where it comes in, the research and the knowing. Like me as a parent, I know I failed my kid badly, like emotionally, maybe the first year, because I didn't know how to react to him not being emotionally there, but having emotional responses. Like he doesn't know what he's feeling. He doesn't know what it is.
I think that's important in parenting is understanding that it is our responsibility as the adult to handle the reactions of control the emotions, because they're not going to control themselves. So there's no way you can expect them to chill the fuck out when they're spazzing. It's your job as a parent to figure out, okay, what helps my child? How can I do better? And that is very, 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 very hard.
I'm going to give a quick example before you guys move on. But my eye-opening, I don't remember exactly when it was. Me and Donnie went somewhere. Was it a grocery store? We went somewhere with Lucas. And I don't know why she didn't have her kids that day. It was just us three. And Lucas started throwing a fit. Mind you, he was like maybe a year and a half. He was way over, yeah.
That was 2 months ago.
long time ago.
He's 2.5. So no, it's been
I remember this story.
A good year. Yeah. And he starts yelling and I'm like, I'm ignoring it, right? Because I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it because I'm explosive. And I'm like, if I literally go deal with it, I'm going to smack the shit out of this kid in the middle of the grocery store. And she's like, I got it. Let me take him. Go take a deep breath. I got it. Let me take him. And I was like, no, because in my head, I was like, that is my kid. And if I let her take him, that means I felt like I was going to be like a bad parent or feeling less of myself because I couldn't handle my own kid. And so she was like, let me take him. And I was like, no. So I ended up taking him, literally yelled at him in the middle of the grocery store. And obviously it made it worse because he went from throwing a tantrum to screaming at the top of his lungs. And so I walked to the car and I remember sitting in my car and I'm like, I start crying because I'm like, what? And she's like, I told you, just let me take him. I don't remember if you ended up taking him.
Yeah, so I took him when she pinched him. She pinched him, and then he really cried. And then I was like, okay, stop. I don't care.
Oh, so I didn't yell. I pinched him.
Yeah, you pinched him. And I said, stop. I don't care how you feel right now. You are not going to let your anger out of him. I picked him up. I walked away with him, and I let her sit in that moment because I needed her to realize that it wasn't about him. It was about her. And her not being able to control her feelings. And again, her not being able to control the fact that she was feeling ashamed that she was inside of Target and everybody was looking at her with a yelling child.
It was Target.
Yeah. And the whole thing with like the parent shaming, because now you're feeling that anxiousness of like everybody's looking at me and I'm not able to control my child. He's a toddler. He's going to scream. He's going to cry. I picked him up, put him on the floor. I said, let's go walk with Titi. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to be okay. We walked away. She got in the car. And she might appreciate it now. In the moment, she did not appreciate that I took him.
I was mad. She
was mad because she said to me, that is my child. You should let me handle. And maybe she's right. But my instinct as an aunt, I was like, you're not going to keep pinching this child inside a Target and make him cry. But I think in that moment, when I took him and she realized that I was able to control him without yelling at him, without pinching him, without just communicating with him and saying, hey, Lucas, what do you need? What is it that you want? You want to walk?
It's usually just love. They want to hug.
And you know what he really wanted? He wanted to go up, and I did have Ella actually. Ella was in the cart, and the stroller, and he was in the cart. He wanted to go in the stroller with Ella, but Jackie's controlling side was like, "No, you're gonna sit in the cart." And I was like, "Just let him go in the stroller."
Okay, I remember now. Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, "Just let him go in the stroller." And the fact that she said no to him, and she made it worse, and she wasn't realizing it because it was her controlling side of it's my way, not
it was
your
the
way.
authoritarian parenting style.
But then again, and I just want to clarify, that's the curse of being a parent. And like, even if you have 2-3 kids, people sometimes don't realize you feel like you're failing yourself, and then you project that into your kid because you're like, I don't know like how to control the situation. And you know what? Now I obviously know, but that was a sad day. Like, that was really eye-opening.
That's a great example.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so my next question was, what is the struggles that you have with, we all seem to touch base that we want to be authoritative. And so what are some of the struggles that you have with this parenting style? And you guys started to share that story where it seems as though not having control of the situation, or if your child is behaving a way that you believe that others are going to be like, what in the world is wrong with this family? It leads you guys to be less understanding of your child and
You
more
panic.
understanding of everyone else around you, which isn't, honestly, it's not the way to go. And I think having that question was, what is my goal right now, is a good question to ask yourselves in these moments of struggle. So let your child be screaming and just question yourself, what is my goal right now? What is my goal right now? Because at the end of the day, your child just wanted to go into a stroller, and was that going to be the end of the world? Was that going to change your day? Was that going to
That's the part that I
destroy
struggle
everything?
with in parenting, it's a simple ask that they're asking for. So like for my authoritarian, the struggle I deal with that. And then it goes, my fear is that if I'm not authoritative,
If you don't
if
have
I'm
the
not
authority,
strict, if I'm not controlling,
if you don't have enough authority,
I'm going to be permissive.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'd rather be authoritative than permissive. So that's a struggle that I face.
And I think, and I think that's a very big misconception of authoritative parenting. And I think as well as not just the misconception, but also not educated enough to understand what are normal needs of a child, what are the what children actually experience through the development. I think there's so many components to it that leads to those misconceptions. So am I being too permissive, or am I being too authoritarian? Because authoritative parenting also children have consequences and they have boundaries, right? Because they do need to learn from their actions. I believe that not understanding how to approach situations is what leads to the questioning. And also others around not being educated enough on these parenting styles also leads to it. Age is also a factor.
right?
Life stress is also a factor.
Emotional,
Right. And so, and the way that you address behaviors is also what's going to make or break that parenting style. So
the misconception goes back to, like I said, I thought that gentle parenting was the permissive parent that lets their child do whatever they want. They have no control over their child, and it's not. And that the controlling part of us parents is, if I don't control the situation now while she's 1, when she's 10, she's going to hit me and slap. And it's not like that. It's you allowing your child to be comfortable to communicate with you what they need, and you be able to come to a medium and give them what they need, at the same time being a parent that is aware of, let's say, I don't want to wear my jacket. Okay, well, you're going to be cold. It's cold outside. And let them realize that. And not you just say it, and have them understand that, you know what, this is hot, and if you touch it, you're going to burn your hand. Obviously, you're not going to let your child burn their hand, but they need to understand the consequences of it so that they can understand why they can't do it, rather than you just telling them they can't.
right. And I think that's where the education piece is super important if you are taking the route of authoritative parenting, because there are ways to address all of these behaviors. You truly have to understand how to communicate with your child. You have to understand how to set boundaries and understand what consequences do apply to certain situations, because if not, then you're being too permissive or you're being too authoritarian. And that's what our hopes is, to help start introducing some of that part of authoritative today. That's our goal.
So what's the healthy balance? Authoritative.
Authoritative.
Yeah,
That's
because
what we
neglect is obviously, guys.
I think neglectful
Yeah.
parenting is an interesting one because I feel like I can compare that to like what's it called? What's the convenient parenting?
Convenient parents.
Where
Right.
like if it's convenient for you, then it's gonna work. And this is one that we're hopefully gonna have a podcast episode on, but it's a touchy subject.
Ooh,
for a lot.
I already know what she's gonna say.
Yes, technology.
Yeah.
I think technology is an easy way to be a convenient, neglectful parent because it allows you to take up that space, whether you guys are at a restaurant, whether you guys are that could be a moment of time,
Neglect,
quality time. The technology takes away so much of, and this is again, I'd love to have a conversation about it because I only see it from one experience, which is mine. But I feel like that's a way that it takes, oh my God, you're bothering me. Here, take the iPad. Oh my God, I just want to eat dinner. Like, here, take my phone. And it's like, to me, while, the children's fed, they're warm, they're happy, they're definitely happy. It's a form of neglect.
Well, I think that's important to say. Neglect doesn't mean you're leaving your child in a room without being fed in a cold.
Right. That's why I wanted to bring it up because it's the emotional neglect.
It's the emotional neglect. It's the convenient parenting of my child is fed. They're safe. They're warm. They have a house. They go to school. I make sure it's the basic.
They have everything. Even the parents
It's
would
the
spoil
basic.
them with like material.
I'm gonna say and nobody's saying it's not okay. Your kid can go on the iPad. Your kid can have screen time. It's anything that's done with excessively, because I have these moments where I'm like, okay, Lucas, I need to cook dinner and you're being really overwhelming right now. Here, go watch your iPad for an hour. So we're talking parents that literally don't give
in order
that
to
emotional.
not deal with that emotional, like when the child is needing the emotional.
It's too much. Anything of too much is not good for you. And imagine for a kid that's developing and they're learning and
The lack of limits.
Yeah. I at night for me, it's tiring. I'm putting 2 kids to bed, and sometimes Ella's screaming and crying and doesn't want to go to her room, and I have to sit there for a half hour with her and kind of figure out what she needs. Let's read a book. You want mommy to rub your back? And I sit there, and today I was late today because I was putting her down for a nap. Granted, she had surgery done, so I'm obviously on her a little bit more. But she needed me for those 20 minutes for her to fall asleep.
Exactly.
And I'm not spoiling her. I'm nurturing her.
Yeah, you're not neglecting.
I'm not neglecting her, right?
okay.
And we'll get more
This
into
is
that
a
because
lot.
I do feel like
I'm curious,
and I'll be
Michelle.
real honest.
I want to hear you,
I'm gonna be real honest because I'm gonna be
Michelle.
Wrong.
Unapologetically,
Go ahead,
is that
I
how
want
you
it.
say it?
because we all stick iPads on our kids a lot.
Yeah, I
We're not gonna sit here and act like we don't be doing that.
well, like I
a lot.
said, it's excessive.
So
I feel like you could
I
speak
was
for
gonna
your own
say that. I
experience,
don't
but okay.
right from being around all of us, I do think that we stick our kids on the iPad a lot. Yes, I'm with you guys a lot. I'm not speaking to you, girl.
Yeah, not to Fernanda.
Oh, I apologize.
But
Not to Fernanda.
This is very big on
Not Fernanda.
parenting stuff.
Michelle, eu não.
I do.
Lucas has very limited time on the iPad, and when he's around,
Phones count too.
okay.
No, I agree with Michelle. My kids
We
have
do
my
try
kids
to
have
balance
more,
it out, though.
We do.
But see, I
my
don't
kids have
have-
more screen time than I would like
But
them
I'm
to. I think that you're
But
right.
I'm going to call you out
This
now.
is a different. No. We're not calling people out. This is a different podcast. I can't wait to have it because I think it's gonna be a strong one because I feel like it's a lot of parents struggle with it. And there's no shame
I'm
in
just
it.
right.
There's no need to defend it. It is what it is.
Nobody.
It's the awareness of it. And it's the impact it has on your children. And it's okay, am I giving this to them because I really, truly need this time to cook this food so we can eat? Or am I giving this to them because I'm just fucking over it and I don't give a fuck and I don't care that
Right.
he's crying. Take this fucking... That's the difference.
But what
Or
I'm saying is...
Another... Go ahead.
No,
Good example.
no, it's not. I just want to get it out the way because when she says oh yeah, if my kid is around, and this is what Fernanda struggles with, she doesn't want her kid to do it, right? But if there's other kids doing it, obviously they're going to want to go on it. I never say no to my kid if Makai, if Nathan, if Ella, if they're on the iPad and Lucas, do you. You know, like I obviously it's not going to be like they're going to be all party on the iPad or if we go out. But if it's that moment where like I didn't bring his iPad and I don't want to give him my phone and he wants to watch it with any of the other of the kids, I'm not going to say no because I'm not going to tell my kid that he can't do something he's clearly seeing other kids do. And then I don't want to give him that feeling of like, why are they doing it and I can't? Because I also don't think screen time is that big of a deal. Like at the end of the day, that's how kids are exposed to language, to sounds. Some kids develop better because they see.
All right, we'll talk this on another episode.
I think what Fernanda meant was the excessive of it, of like not wanting to do anything with your kids and then
not wanting to deal with it.
Right.
I think if you're ever not dealing with something, I think a big one for me is the restaurant one. Like, I just want to deal with it. And I get it. There's a defense where I never have a good dinner with my husband and I just want to have a chill dinner. I get the defense of it. But I'm like, people used to do it without it.
But it wasn't the iPad. Parents were using newspapers.
Okay.
All right. So, next question. What questions do you often ask yourself during situations that you aren't so sure on what to do based on the parent you want to be?
None. I'm like, I'm good as spaz.
I need to read this again. What questions do you often ask yourself during situations that you aren't so sure on what to do based on the parent you want to be?
So essentially,
who is that self-aware listening here? Please DM us. We will give you a prize.
I know, right?
So essentially, it's like, you know.
Do you ask yourself questions when you're in the moment?
I'm like, yo,
I do.
Do I hit her or do I not hit her?
Well, essentially, yeah. So
No, you're right.
You want to be an authoritative parent. So like your child is like throwing a fit. You are aware what kind of parent you want to be. I want to be an authoritative parent. So how, in that moment, quick, what do I want to do?
You're right.
What is my goal?
I do ask myself, do I spaz or do I try to communicate with her and ask her what she wants?
I have an issue because I don't think at all. I'm just...
But you're aware of that, which is good.
I'm on the go. I am on the go. I'll be like, I'll either yell. See, and again, Michelle, you made a really great point because it's all about the day my mental health is that day. If I'm in a good, better, and I try my best not to project that, which I think all of us as parents do a lot. I try not to project that onto him.
So hard.
It is so hard.
So, like, there's days, Danny, my husband looks at me, he's like, dude, you did so good last week. What happened this week? And I'm like, I don't fucking know. I'm a fucking mess. I need therapy.
I think.
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I don't think I think it through depending on. And then there's some days that I'm like, I already know I'm going to get home and, you know, he's going to be in a mood. So let me do my best to. And again, kids are so forgiving. You can yell at them and hit them right now. And then 2 seconds later.
Don't take advantage of that.
Which isn't a reason to do it.
That's not a good.
I know, but you could take advantage of it when you do have a moment. You're like,
forgive yourself.
Yes.
I think just to speak on that, I agree. I think I also mental health is a great point. I don't think I was aware of it, but I've never heard it out loud. So that was good. But I do know that when I'm not having a good, I think lately, that's the thing. I was just telling the girls before we started recording that we were talking about how it gets harder with age. Michelle mentioned that. And I'm like, absolutely, because Emily's 6 now. And it has been emotionally for me hard to deal with this and be an authoritative parent. Because it does depend a lot on the mental health. And when my mental health is not good, I don't have patience. My patience is at like a 0. I'm like, girl, you're going to brush your teeth or you're not. There is no option.
The older they get.
Those are your 2 options.
You are?
You decide.
Or you are. Actually, or not is not an option.
The older they get, the more questions they throw back at you.
Oh my God. And they get it. And they're like, but mommy, like, I already brushed my teeth in the shower, so whatever. Yes, you do. But mommy, I'm going to eat a snack or whatever.
Oh,
there's always something.
But mom, you didn't brush your teeth last night. Why do I have to brush my teeth today?
I always brush my teeth, so she don't got that. But no, wait. But I just wanted to say something, but now I forgot. So never mind. Go ahead, Dani.
Why does this happen?
It gets harder.
It gets harder because when you are,
it'll come back to you.
When you're trying to instill rules, you have to be really good at following them yourself because they will question you. It's like myself, I hate wearing jackets. But obviously, I'm going to make my child wear a jacket. And
so
then
you better start wearing a jacket?
She's going to look at me and she's going to say, but mommy, why are you wearing a hoodie and I'm not wearing it? Why are you telling me to do something that you don't do?
So see, that's where I'm conflicted, because to what point can I be authoritative? Is that the right word?
Authoritative.
Authoritarian.
Yeah.
And rude and an asshole and be like, because I am your mother and I am telling you to do so.
That's authoritarian.
That's authoritarian. And what's your question on that?
That's like she's saying, oh, because I'm an adult and I get to not wear a jacket,
Oh,
but
you know
you're
what?
my kid.
You don't
and
want to wear a
have
jacket? Don't wear a jacket. But you're going to be cold.
Yeah.
I believe it's the way you approach the situation.
Right.
You can still have that as an authoritative parent. You can still have that kind of vibe,
but not be a bitch about it.
but
not
not
neglect
in
his
an authority.
question.
Right.
Like if he's asking, hey, mom, why do I have to wear a jacket, but you don't? And you're like, because I said so. That's
right.
Not explaining to them why.
Because I know that
it's
at
like,
some
because
point,
if I get sick, I'm taking care of myself. But if you get sick, I'm taking care of you, which I want to avoid. So unless you want to take care of yourself when you're sick, you let me know.
And they're going to say yes,
That's cool.
just so they can do it.
All right,
so
and when they're sick, they're going to be like, I'm going to go lay down on my couch.
technically you have to
Neglect.
you have to be impeccable with your word.
Hey.
that's a good example. So
Hey.
nurturing,
That's
and being
why it's
kind, which is very hard for some people.
Right. But like I said, going back to those misconceptions, being an authoritative parent, you still can set boundaries. There still can be consequences. It's the way that it is approached. And that is, listeners, please understand this. It is a misconception that authoritative parent is permissive parent. There is still consequences. There is still boundaries. You are still the adult that understands better than generally speaking, but more than the child. The misconception, please do not take that away. Authoritative parenting still has consequences and still has boundaries. You are still the adult. You still, at the end of the day, you pretty much kind of have the last word in some way as the knowledgeable person.
Right. It's like we can talk about it. I can try to explain this to you, and if you still don't understand, I'm sorry. You're still gonna wear the jacket.
You can still give them the two choices.
Or the blue jacket or the black jacket.
The jacket's still going to the car with us.
Right. So what I've been doing with Ella lately is giving her the choice of what she wants to eat, because to be very honest, it's frustrating to put the food on the plate and then her not eating anything. So now, you know what? I'm going to give you the choice of picking what you want me to put on the plate for you. So I'll show her the banana, and she's been doing this thing where she goes, no, and pushes it away.
Yep.
But here's
but then I show her the apple, and then she'll grab the apple. So although I would like her not to be pushing my hand when I'm trying to show her the banana, I'm also giving her the space to communicate to me what she likes and what she doesn't like.
But you have to be very careful with that, because that is permissive. So authoritative would be something like, we have a dinner, and being conscious of the things that your child does like.
These are your options.
Your options. Which one of the options that we have would you like? That is authoritative.
Beautiful.
As in, you are allowing your child to choose anything in the house. That's permissive.
Without saying this or that.
These are your options.
Yes. So authoritative, you are still in control because you're the adult, right? So, but also being mindful of what your child does like. So let's say my kids love green beans. So if I make rice and beans, and that's it. That's all you're having. That's authoritarian.
Right.
You're having this, but if you do, my child likes green beans, rice, beans, green beans, and a little carnilla, little meat,
little protein.
Here are options. What would you like on your plate?
So I think at this point, at the age that she's at, I understand what she likes and what she doesn't. And I know that she likes the rice and beans. I know she likes mac and cheese. I know she likes sweet potatoes.
All kids like mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Not Lucas.
Oh, no?
Well, he'll eat at her house, not mine.
Oh, okay.
He chooses where he wants to eat it. So I'm also going to be mindful that me as an adult, there's things that I don't eat. I can't force her to eat green beans if she doesn't like green beans. If I tried it, so I'm not going to.
Wait, can I pause you on that? Because I think this is a big one for parents too. Being, another thing I'm passionate about is healthy eating. Okay. This is background. So something I've seen, not with any of you guys, but I've seen before is a child doesn't like feijoa beans. She doesn't like it. I've given it to her. She doesn't like it. That's it. We're not letting her try it anymore.
Consistency.
Keep trying it.
Oh, yeah. No,
try
I
it in
agree
different
with that.
ways. Try in different things because
Vitamins are important.
vitamins are important. And if you're not teaching them at that age, no offense, you're going to have a picky eater as an adult.
So Ella, when
Yep.
she started eating, I used
And real quick, just while I'm here, real quick. Also, be the person who eats this stuff as well, because again, the mirror part.
Example.
Eat the veggies. Your child will learn to eat that veggies are important to eat. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Go ahead.
Yeah, I wish you guys could see Dunny's face. She's like,
Eat the broccoli, Dunny. Eat the broccoli.
and the carrots,
I just
and the green beans.
every time I try to speak, and this is like last episode, I felt the same. You guys don't let me finish my thought, and then you guys
Not
misconcept-
today, Donnie.
You guys misconcept what I'm actually trying to say.
Oh, that was for me. That wasn't for about anything you were saying.
That was a lesson. Just saying.
But I didn't need that lesson because you didn't let me finish talking.
That was a lesson.
Oh God.
All right.
Let her finish.
Anyways, so continue. I don't
Her
even wanna-
emotions got in the way.
No,
but I do
I-
remember what I had to say before that I forgot. You want to say it or not? Can you record? Yeah, you got her on camera. Okay.
Yes, because
You just stop.
Donnie, I'm giving
Okay.
you. I'm teaching.
quiet.
They're fucking
Go ahead.
around. They're getting on your nerves. She's triggering you.
it's not. I'm
Breathe.
trying to get to the point of what I was trying to say, and then let me finish, and then you can give me whatever lesson has to be given.
Make it shorter. That's it. You talk
not even
a
that.
lot.
Just go.
Okay. Anyways, when Ella was younger, I offered her all of the options of things that she used to eat, everything. Now I'm working my way through of what she's eating now and reintroducing those kind of foods. Like at some point she wasn't eating broccoli. Now I reintroduce broccoli again. She's eating it again. So there's phases that she'll eat it. There's phases that she won't. But at the same time, I have to be aware that if I try to force it on her, she's not going to eat at all. So I'm opening the options so that she knows what she wants to eat or not, but being mindful about the healthy part of it.
Okay.
I wasn't talking to you. I was
You
just saying.
interrupted me, and that's what's the frustrating part is. So continue.
This is beautiful. I love podcasts. This is so
So great.
fucking raw. Love it.
Oh, going to that point really quick. Being mindful of child development. There are phases,
right.
and yeah, that's definitely.
This is what I was
Huge.
going to say when she was.
But also tying into what Fernanda said, it's important to keep reintroducing.
You know that saying they say that like if you're putting something in your body, know the reactions it causes your body. I feel like, and this might be like a little off of example, but knowing your kid, right? It's what works for your kid while introducing. So like, let's say it's important that they get their vitamins. It's important that they get their nutrients. But it's also important that I am not shoving food down my kid's throat and traumatizing them because they don't want to eat broccoli, but I want them to eat broccoli. So my kid right now, and this is me speaking for myself, Lucas doesn't want to eat anything but French fries and chicken nuggets. And I literally called his pediatrician. I said, listen, I'm having a really hard time. My kid used to eat yogurt that was good for his intestines. He used to eat oatmeal. He used to eat fruits. He's really into fruits. And lately, he's like, no. All he eats is...
a 1.5 phase, girl.
Yeah, he's 2.
Yeah.
You know, and then she said, a kid will not starve. If he wants to eat French fries once a day, if he wants to eat every day, it is what it is, right? It's not good. It's not the healthiest. But, yeah, he'll eat French fries every day. And it's an example. Obviously, this is not what's going on. But if in the morning he eats his mangoes, if in the morning he eats a yogurt, we also need to be mindful that children's stomachs aren't huge. So they're not starving. They're eating what they need to eat. And with her saying like, oh, I'm giving Ella options, I think that's misunderstood as in like a permissive because you're allowing her to choose what she wants to eat. But in the background, you're going to make sure that she's getting her nutrients. So maybe I'm letting her choose what she wants to eat for lunch. But for dinner, I'm going to give her options or this is what she's eating.
That's healthy eating. What I was talking about permissive was something.
I get what Michelle was saying.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was
You're-
before.
Because although I'm
healthy
offering her healthy options, the apple, the
No.
banana, the strawberries, I'm allowing her to pick and choose what she wants.
right.
But I wouldn't cook a whole new meal for her.
Right.
If we have rice and beans, you can choose to eat just the rice if you don't want the beans.
Or
you can choose to eat
sometimes-
Right,
You don't
and
have to
that's
eat everything
authoritative.
I made, but we're not going to cook you a whole separate meal.
And I think-
sometimes they just don't want to eat either. And
Right. If
You
they don't,
know-
right,
well,
but
that's
what
a
I'm saying.
different subject. Not
Right.
eating versus.
I'm just saying with the food, if sometimes they're saying no to everything you're trying to give them, they just don't want to eat.
Right. Okay.
Yep. All right. And so there are two examples that we have found for you guys to understand how authoritative parenting comes into effect into our daily lives. So the first example is, imagine that a parent would like a child to get involved in after-school activities. If the parent is acting in an authoritative mode, they talk to the child about what kind of activity they would like to do. After listening to the child's opinion, the parent decides whether it is a good option for their child. They tell their child their decision and explain why they chose that option and make sure that the child generally understands. The authoritative parent might ask the child how they can help. The authoritative parent might ask the child how they can help get them started. Authoritative parents make sure that the child has what they need for the activity and talks to them frequently about their progress after they begin. So notice how the authoritative parent allowed the child to be involved in something that pertained to the child. And as they are going through with the activity, they're having conversations to see how they feel, how they're doing, and just being a team as opposed to the parent just leading everything. Here's the sport that you're doing. This is what you're doing. And
a good example to kind of, so let's talk about that situation from an authoritarian situation, right? So I want you to join this club. You don't want to join this club, but you're going to join this club
because it looks good.
Because it looks good on your resume, and when you're and we need to get scholarships and Okay, so you're going to do it even though you don't want to. Child begins saying, no, I don't want to, starts a tantrum, or not a tantrum, I guess they're a teenager, so they start, attitude and talking back.
Skipping it, doing something else instead.
And so, maybe the child goes. Maybe the child has learned to be, responsive to the parent, is going, but is the parent asking them how it's going? No, because now it's uncomfortable because the child's like, I don't want to do this. The parent's like, you're going to do it. And so, they go through this club that could potentially be a good thing for them. Mm-hmm. They're not even taking it in because they're so upset that the parent is forcing them into something that they don't even want to do, or they can't even speak up and say, like, I don't, the conversation's not there. And I think that's the valuable part, and where neglect comes in too, where it's like, we're just not going to talk about it. We're not doing that.
And I think, and to not have the misconception of, after school activities, or especially when kids get into higher education, where these after school activities is important for their education and for them to succeed and get scholarships, is allowing the child, here, it's important for you to have these after school activities. Here are some of the options. Which one would you like? As opposed to being permissive and like, if you don't like any of these, you don't have to do it. Right? So it's it's teamwork. We're doing this together. And I think that is super, super important to understand. And again, those misconceptions, like, it's not like you're telling your child, like, you don't have to do any of them, honey, if you don't like them. Like, here are the options that your school provides. Which one would you like to try out? Or would
select two
or the 5. But here, giving them that boundary, like, you need to do it. But which one would you like? Giving the child the option to choose which one would it be. So it's not authoritarian and it's not permissive.
And this is just a thought. There's also a side that there's a chance that kid is going to be like, I don't want to do anything. This is me, I will be the kind of parent who will say, okay, then I will choose for you. And we're going to try it. If you don't like it, we'll try something else. You're going to do something.
Well, you're not giving them the option to
I would be curious to know why they don't want to do anything. Because why would you
There's
not want
kids
to?
that are not into sport. I wasn't. I was somebody who grew up and I wasn't into ballet or street. My mom made me do ballet, street dance.
There's reading,
volunteering.
All right, but then hear me out. I did all of these things and I didn't like it at the time. And now I realize how it impacted me because I'm an adult and I can dance. Okay? I didn't like doing it when I was a kid, but I love it now. And so somehow, maybe even if this is how parents are reinforcing, if this is their parenting style.
But you're not giving them the option to not do anything. You're giving them the option, and between these 5, pick one.
And if they don't want to pick, I will pick for him.
That's authoritarian.
Right, but then that's
but you'll create.
But you'll create this thing with your child where they understand.
This is where I get conflicted with the world we live in today. To me, this is soft parenting. This is like, no, like, a kid can't have everything their way. We didn't have it our way. And I'm not saying we don't need to break these generational, the way we were brought up.
Let me mention something because this is in the education field. So it's not just with sports. There are other options that of after school activities or within the school hours that the child can do different things. So it just wouldn't be with sports.
Okay.
And I think that's helpful to understand which very, very important that you try to find something for your child to do that would look amazing in their resume. But but there are, like, you can volunteer to help out a sport. You don't necessarily have to be part of the sport.
You can be part of theater. You can be part of the club. You can be part
know
of
what I mean? And I think that's where the knowledge
we're not
and
talking
awareness.
About little kids though, because I feel like
this is high school.
I have a
eighth
real life
grade,
example of a parent like
high
Jackie.
school is hard.
I have a real life example of a parent like Jackie. I was talking to someone over the weekend about college.
Excuse me, my kid is 2.
About college and how he is going to a well-known college because that's what his parents want for him, because his parents think it's very important on his resume that he goes to that college, right? And he was asking me about college or whatever, and I said, you know what? I didn't have a guide when I started college, so I went based on research and where I can get scholarships and this and that, and I ended up going to a community college. And he said to me, that is so smart because with a community college, you spend less money, you have so many grants and scholarships you can get. And he was aware of how good a community college could be for him, knowing that what mattered was where he graduated from for his bachelor's and not where he started school. But he said, my parents won't let me do that because in their head, it's so important for me to go to the well-known college and have that on my diploma that they're not open to the idea of me going to a community college. That is you not allowing your child
to figure it out.
Figure
out what they like.
And I empathize with those parents because sometimes behind all of that, it's not that they want to be authoritarian. It's just that they didn't have the best and they want their child to have the best.
Thank you.
And then
Absolutely.
they become conflicted, like, and it's not that they're being authoritarian in a negative way. It's that they just truly want the best for their
because
parents.
they care.
And again,
but still, if you go back to the core, it's still like, okay, I want what's best for you. Do you it's that conversation, and it's being open to your child.
But
too.
For listeners, it's normal to feel that way.
Right.
I want you guys to understand that this is normal. You are
That's
a
why
parent.
I'm saying
You
that.
always want the best for your child. And this is where the learning comes into play.
I just want you guys to be realistic about this because, yes, this right here, this is obviously us having an education on how to parent effectively. But people like, I want to say me, because I feel like we all here have a very different opinion. And mine's is a little bit of a rougher approach. Like, my kid is just not going to do anything because I was a kid. I'm the perfect example of a kid with permissive parents. I was a kid that I was not obligated to do shit when I was growing up. Okay, my parents didn't obligate me to even go to school. If one day I woke up, and Dunny knows this, and I'm like, Mom, I feel sick, I don't want to go to school. My mom was like, okay, sweetie, stay home.
But I was raised the other way around. My mom put me in all of these after school curriculum activities.
So
now, why is that? I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I believe, and if my parents were a little bit more stricter with me and said, no, you little bee, you're going to go do what you have to do because I am your parent and I am telling you to, it would have been different. Maybe I would have been in college right now. Maybe I would have been a person that was engaged in sports. Maybe I would have.
So no.
Absolutely. That's what I believe in.
I have a question. So do you think that because of your own experience, that's baggage that you're bringing into which is normal, because it's very normal.
I'm projecting.
Yeah, like that's and that's something that I actually struggle with me and my situation in the co-parenting, is that my dad's been working his whole life, not a lot of attention. That is like my biggest fear with my daughter and co-parenting, is like, oh my God, if you don't show up enough, like she's going to have all these daddy issues, because it's something I struggled with. And so like, and Emily's dad tells me all the time, he's like, that is your shit that you're going to have to deal with. Me and her, we're going to have our own relationship and you're going to have to just learn to be okay. And I'm like, I guess that's true.
And I will tell you this.
Some things are on your control.
You cannot control the relationship that she's going to have with her father. That is for him to deal with her. And yes, it might not be what you want, but that is for him and her.
Yeah, I got that. And it's fine. I'm over that now.
Which
But
is
my
the thing-
point is, like, I'm bringing the baggage from my own history
yes.
into my children, which is, my child. But that's, like, a little bit unfair for her because now I may say things a certain way.
You're
I may
setting
do
expectations
something.
that she doesn't have.
Right. So it's we got to be careful with that.
I don't know. I think, again, different perspectives, different. We were sisters and we were brought up completely different. And I don't want to make these mistakes with my kid
But
that
I
my
think
parents made with me.
Be aware. Be aware of your controlling. Be aware of your baggage.
Where
Be
it's coming
aware.
Again, I'm going to remind you guys, it does not matter. I'm married now. I might not be in 5 years. Lucas is always going to have a dad. And so, yeah, I do tend to want things my way, but I do have a husband that keeps me, like,
Balanced.
yes, keeps me on my toes. So we've already discussed this plenty of times. And he's like, if there's a certain point of our lives that we can't agree on something, we're going to have to figure it out because you're not going to have it your way.
We're going to throw hand. No,
Whoever gets knocked
Yeah.
out first loses.
So, like, I know it's going to come to a point where, like,
kidding,
if
Danny.
we have one of those situations and he's like, well, Lucas doesn't want to do sports. And I'm like, I'm going to obligate him. I don't think Danny would ever let me do that.
Good.
So we would have to
Thank you, Danny. We
Right.
appreciate you.
But it is how I feel. I feel like you're not just not going to do
Obviously,
anything.
everything we're talking about, it doesn't mean that we do it. We're work in progress as parents, but talking about it so people are aware of it, aware of where you
And
can
ourselves.
improve.
This right here is an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people. Yeah.
And I want to bring up one more example, which shows consequences and discipline being shown. So in this example, a teenager has secretly skipped school. The authoritative parent finds out about it and goes to the teen to talk about what happened and why they made that choice. The parent listens to the teen, but also explains why they are disappointed and need to set limits. Earlier in the teen's life, the parent has already let their child know that they always need to go to school unless they have permission to be absent. So the teen isn't surprised when the parent explains the consequences of their actions, and the
Right.
parent then makes sure that the child faces the consequence.
Fair.
So
Realistic consequence.
Huge.
Yes.
And I think that while this is a teenager example, that falls into any, like, even as our children are young, because that's something that it's all of this is really hard. This isn't easy, but it's something that I'm aware of where if, I tell Emily all the time, the jacket example is a perfect example that you brought up. Emily, and I'm big on this, if you don't wear a jacket to school today, you're going to be cold. It's winter. You're going to be cold. And period. Like, that's how it started. Now I'm more like, you're going to get sick and I'm not dealing with you getting sick because it's happened already. Because I allow it. I'm like, you don't want to wear, you sure? You sure you don't want to wear long sleeves? You sure?
Oh, we know.
All right. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, then you're going to deal with it. And she goes to school and she'll come back and she'll literally be like, Mommy, you're right. I was cold. And I'm like, great. So now when mommy wants your best interest. Like, I'm not trying to force you. I just want you to be safe and healthy. That's like my only goal in my life. And her, now as she's growing older, I literally bring that back because I'm like, Emily, are you sure you're going to wear some flip-flops to the park and not sneakers? Because if you're going to run around, you're not going to have as much fun. You might slip and trip. And if I'll let her decide, but she'll think about it, and she usually goes with the sneakers. But, like, now it works. So it does, you being...
Effective parenting.
It is effective. That's a good word that we've been using. It is effective to kind of start it young, and if, even if it's not catching on, just be really consistent with those,
It's like the food.
the core rules, because it'll catch up.
yeah.
It's like you telling your kid you're going to get hurt if you go on that toy,
Yeah.
and then letting them, and I'm not saying get hurt, but letting them experience the fear of getting hurt,
Right.
rather than just you're not going because you're gonna get hurt.
Right. That
They
part.
don't understand. They don't understand that they might get hurt. They don't understand that if a baby to walk, they need to fall.
Right.
You need to
I'm
let
such
them
a
fall.
hover parent.
Yeah. Comes from.
And I
Love
was
you,
I was
Chia.
in the beginning too, but it's like, you know what? They need to fall in order to learn their balance. So I need to everything with a grain of salt, guys. Don't let your child fall and hit their head 1,000
That part.
times.
No,
Right.
it's really scary because it's like, wait, but you
Yeah.
crack
but,
it open. and shit.
obviously, Mel now started climbing the stairs.
Oh my
and a
God.
convenient parent would be close the gate. You're not going up the stairs. The effective parent is, let me teach you the right way of going up the stairs.
And be with
that
you every
can
time until you're old enough.
Yes, so that you can learn how to come down the stairs without getting hurt, right? And that's where life gets busy and it's like, I just don't want to deal with it right now, whatever.
It's
Ella's
taking the
taking her
time.
diaper off now. So I'm like, it's time to potty train. So the convenient parent would be like, stop taking your diaper off. Don't take your diaper off. Instead, I got her a potty. When she takes her diaper off, let's go to the potty. It's obviously not going to happen that quick. It's hard because I'm working, so I don't have the time to potty train her like a person that's home with their kid all the time would be able to. But let's work on it. She's showing me. She's showing me the cues. She's talking to me. She's saying, Mom, I'm ready. Let's do it.
I wish I lived in an effective parenting world because life would be so much easier.
It would.
Like, it's like we're doing the research and it's just like, oh, the day comes.
It's a lot.
And you're just like,
It's a lot.
tonight, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's
putting
hard.
kids to sleep.
So bottom line is,
Right.
parenting is exhausting
It's
no matter what you
exhausting,
do.
Right. It's true. This morning, I was so tired because Ella's been waking up in the middle of the night because of the surgery and everything. I woke up with the girls. I was like, I don't want to eat anything because I'm so tired, but I need to get my kids breakfast.
Right. Me too.
So
Yeah, for real.
I think effective parenting takes the time. So like
it does.
the convenient doesn't take the time, but the effective is like, I'm going to take the time to deal with this shit. I'm going to take the time to teach her how to train, use diapers.
Right.
I'm going to take the time, which is exhausting because we already don't have enough time.
Michelle
so.
keeps acting like it's the hardest thing ever, right? But she taught the boys how to make their own breakfast. That's not convenient parenting. That's effective parenting. So that when she's tired, they know how to get
It becomes
Girl,
convenient.
they're sick.
No, what
I'm
I'm saying is, I think it's so cute that Nathan, he came the other day. I was
Oh,
over.
that cheeseburger. He goes and puts it in by himself. Oh, that's cute. I
He's
remember that.
learning how to do these like normal things, which a parent would say, I don't want them to do because they're gonna make a mess or whatever. But they're learning.
But
But
They make bagels in the
I am a
morning.
convenient parent as well, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Yes,
am
I do
too.
have all these resources, but man, oh man,
It's really easy to be the convenient
if you
parent.
guys only knew what happens between those 450 billion walls inside my house.
Which and then you know what? I'm gonna keep saying this. It is okay because we were brought up a certain way. Some people project how they were brought up into their kids. Some people try to do better. And parenting is figuring out what works for you. And at the end of the day, that kid is gonna grow by the grace of God. He will. Or she will. And it's gonna be okay because look at us. Yeah, like we do deal with a little, trauma and stuff, but we're okay. We're okay. We're okay. Yes,
That's great. We're okay.
We're okay.
We're
living.
surviving.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that convenient parenting is obviously easier, the easy way out when life gets crazy.
There has to
Every
be
day.
to be a healthy balance.
I was
That's
a convenient parent this morning. I came down with the girls. I put on the TV and I said, "Hey, let's watch." Ella's really been into the Minions. Let's watch the Minions. And then I took a 15-minute nap before I showed up here because I was up all night with her with a fever.
That's
May I also remind you guys?
Want to judge me? Judge me. My kid was watching TV at 8 a.m.
Goldfish is also super yummy. You can just plop
Goldfish
it on
is
the floor.
awesome. Yep.
Let me remind you guys.
Yogurt sometimes is the way to go.
These might be also the best memories they have, like we do growing up. Like I remember when I was homesick from school, I watched TV all day under blankets and ate cereal. I saw a meme the other day and I was like, yeah, it's like they're simple, but they're effective. Memories that help us grow. Like you think it's convenient parenting and you think it's such a bad thing, but for the kid, it's building their core. They're comfortable. They're happy. That's their safe space. They're watching TV on their couch. So you know what? It's okay. Like those are they're happy places.
Yeah. There's going to be great days as a parent. There's going to be days that you feel like you're a horrible parent.
It's a bad day, not a bad life.
It's a good saying. So as parents, we do have an enormous impact on our child's life, academically, socially, and emotionally. Parenting will always be hard. The most important part is to be aware of what your goal is as a parent. This is tough. It always was, and it most likely always will. We are here. Lean on your village. For more information on effective parenting, visit National Parent Hotline or Helpline, or you can call. You can have a conversation on the phone at 1-855-4-A-PARENT. Be proud of who you are. You are not alone. It's just complicated. The only way to bring change is to bring awareness. We'd love to hear from you and your thoughts on this episode. Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram at It's Just Complicated Podcast. See you later.
Bye.